Welcome back to the workshop. Rather chilly this morning, so I'll be pressing on fairly smartly. I'm hoping that this will be just a single video for this production of what I've decided to call a fixture plate for the mill. Process of manufacture will be, I've got it set up in the mill now. The DRO's zeroed in all three axes, and I'm about to start drilling the holes. The pattern of holes for the mountings, 4 of those, which will be countersunk, and then the pattern of alternating 6mm threaded holes and 5mm dowel, 6mm dowel holes rather. It's going to be rather repetitive and laborious, so I don't suppose you'll mind me skipping through that and making it a little shorter video for you. Okay, well, without further ado, let's go over to the mill and I'll start the milling. I've been drilled through with a 5.5mm pilot hole. This is now the 8mm. Light it down a bit and off we go. Drill. Now I'm going to try and countersink that. I've never had much luck with these darn things. It's not going to be anything like deep enough. No. It's got to go down another 1.5mm, I guess. So let's take that down. And the battery's gone all the cool. Bloody DRO. Oh well, there we go. Everything's conspiring against me this morning. It's just not quite flush, not quite straight either. That's below the surface and gives me sufficient clearance for when it's fly cuts, just to take a little depth off there. So that's going to be a slow process. I'll do the other 3 and I'll come back so you can be bored a bit more. Right, well, as you can see, I've only drilled 3 of the holes and countersunk them because of the size of the material and the extra bit at the back where the jaws I've had to fix. It won't go back far enough in order for me to drill this one, so a bit of a change of plan. I'm going to drill the holes for the dowel pins and the threaded holes on half, turn it round, pick up on one of these holes, or this one for the DRO, and start again on the other side, having flipped it through 180. That is going to be bloody tedious, so I'm going to do it off camera and come back when I've finished. Since that last clip, another day has dawned and I've had a chance to sleep on it and revise my ideas all the time I'm doing these projects. Of course, I'm thinking about the next problem and what I'm going to do about them. I came to the realisation that placing the holes 20mm apart was overkill somewhat, so I've spaced the holes out to 45mm centres. I think that will give plenty of scope for setting work up on the plate, and I've made a start drilling the holes. It's not very interesting, so I'll carry on off camera, and when I've got as far as I can with this setup, I don't think the vise will go back far enough for me to do the last possibly 1 row, maybe even 2 rows of holes. I'll bring you back and see what the finished object is, and I'll give you another overview of how I see the changes I'm going to make to the order of work. Right, I'll press on with the drilling. I've brought you back to the mill here. I've drilled all these holes, flipped the plate around so that I can do the last 2 rows. I use the drill to visually align one of these holes as a check for position, and I've checked on the extremes and they all slide in very nicely, so it's nicely in alignment with the table of the mill, and I'm now going to finish off drilling the rest of the holes through here. Anyway, that's a bit of an update. I'll come back in a minute when that's finished. Okay, I've got all the holes drilled, and including the last mounting hole and the countersink. Devil's own job picking up on that. Okay, I'll own up. I got the spacing wrong on the holes. How the devil I did that, I don't know. I'll put it down to old age. I am 75, you know. My wife will tell me off for saying that. So there's a greater distance from there to there and there to there. But you know what? I don't care. It's an even spacing. They're okay in a squared up manner. So that's going to have to do, because I'm later we're going to do it all again. So I've got no way of filling all the holes up. So there we are. So with life in my hands, take it out. And you may be wondering how I stopped drilling into the vise. Oh, I used some cardboard under here. It was mounted on these 2 laughingly called parallels. They're actually 2 pieces of an old caliper cut in half, and they make superb ground narrow, whatever they're called. No, it's gone. I told you I was getting old. Spaces and parallels, those are the words. So, and then I put cardboard underneath. When I brought the drill down onto the top of the holes which were above the vise, I set the drill, the quill DRO to 0, watched it carefully as I got through, and as I got close to 10mm, slowed it up, and I managed to drill very slightly into that bit of cardboard. That's the only one. Oh no, there's another little tiniest little dink there. But the vise has come out unscathed. Right, next job I'm going to make the mounts, which involves putting the jaws back on in the proper place, and it's getting cold out here, my fingers are seizing up, so I'm going to go in, have a cup of tea and come out again, probably not tomorrow because it's Sunday, so Monday will be the next one, and I'll do the mounts. Right, well, that was Saturday. Come Sunday I came out and I thought, well, I'll just set up the piece of material in the vise for making the mounts, which involves just cutting milling chunks out of each side, glorified T-nut in effect. Set it up on parallels, and the quill was over this side, so I thought, well, I'll just set up the DRO, zeroed it on the back face. Then I thought, no, wait a minute, this is going to be climb milling if I run down there, so shot it over to this side, and the edge finder was still in the vise, in the quill rather, and it didn't look quite lined up, which was rather strange. So anyway, I took the piece of material out and ran the DTI along the vice jaw, and somehow I'd lost the tram on the vise. It wasn't out by a few microns, it was out by about a millimetre. It had skewed round for some reason, and the vise was completely out of tram, so retrammed it back in nice and square, parallel to the table, and went back inside and licked my wounds. Whether that's the reason the plate has been machined askew, I suspect it is. I don't know how the vise got knocked, but the fact is it has got knocked or displaced somehow. The nuts that securing it were all very tight, and I'm at a loss to explain how it's lost its tram. Anyway, it's back as it should be now. The material is mounted in the vise, and I'm about to start hacking great chunks off it. Anyway, that's my latest boo-boo. Hopefully, because all the holes that I've already drilled are, although skew-whiffed to the plate, they're all parallel to each other, so I should be able to recover that. And if all goes well, once it's all mounted on the table of the mill, I'll be able to clean up the edges just to make it look pretty, I suppose. Not that it will make any difference to the functionality of the fixture plate. Right, that's brought you up to date, so I'll put a milling cutter in the spindle and start cutting. Well, I did say at the beginning of this video that I hoped it might be just one single video, but it's stretching out into quite a long one, so I'm going to finish it fairly soon. But in the meantime, having just got back from our little break, I reviewed the footage I've already shot, and in doing so I think I've realised where I went wrong and shifted the tram of the vice. Ignore the fact that the mount is in the vice at the moment, and when I had the plate mounted in here, I managed to drill the first 2 mounting holes, obviously by sliding it backwards and forwards. I managed to get the 3rd one in, which was over here on the table. Then I power traversed, and it was back right hard against the column. As I traversed it, it jammed up on the way cover, and that's what I think tilted the vice. So I'm glad I got that sorted out, and it wasn't some mystery gremlin that crept in. And as I said before, I think I can probably recover the situation, because although the vice was skewed, the holes were in an okay position square wise. Let's just hope so anyway. I'll have to check that up by measuring. But in the meantime, as you can see, I've already started cutting out the mounts with the roughing cutter, but that will be the subject of the next video, which I hope will finish up the fixture plate, and with luck it'll all be alright in the end. So if you have been, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.